Hi, I'm Alan Ross. I'm the managing editor of APC Media's publications, Transformer Technology, Power Systems Technology, and Women in Power Systems. We're here at the IEEE PEST&D conference in Anaheim in 2024, the 60th anniversary. These interviews are with thought leaders to be able to bring the best of the marketplace to you. My next guest is Sandeep Chakravarty. I get it?
Absolutely.
Okay, I even did I got that in there. He is the CEO and president of Pennsylvania Transformer. Tell me a little bit about how you got involved in the industry, first of all. Then we'll go to how did you get involved with Pennsylvania Transformer?
Sure, thanks, Alan. So I'm electrical electronics engineer by profession. I have a management degree in international trade. I've been in the power industry for about 32 years.
Okay.
Across diverse, mature and emerging markets. So I started in the transformer industry in 1995 with a company called Crompton Reeves in the international business. So I was part of the strategic team. We looked at the power products portfolio and we wanted to emulate ABB at that time, or Siemens, which was across. So we kind of looked at where we could position the company, and I was part of this team which kind of made CG, which was an Indian multinational, into a global regional player and also in the Americas. So with CG, I had a lot of opportunities. I did alliances, greenfield, brownfield projects, mergers and acquisitions, and diversified the footprint of the company. Right. So at one point we had 44 facilities in 15 countries.
Really?
We grew from a $400 million company to about $2.5 billion in 10 years with organic and inorganic strategy. That gave me a lot of exposure to the industry, and I started from Southeast Asia, moved to Europe, moved to Latin America, and eventually Americas. So I've been in this country for about 20 odd years, and when I left CG, I was the president of the Americas region for the company, managing the industrial and power products portfolio.
Did they own Pennsylvania Transformer at the time? No.
So at that point, CG was going through a little bit of, it was trying to roll back because it had so many different diverse companies, cross-cultural issues and stuff like that, so it started rolling back. So I decided I had this opportunity with Pennsylvania Transformers. So I joined, which wasn't doing well at that time. So joined in 2019 to turn around the company and create a sustainable business model.
Okay.
So I used all my global experience, my supplier contacts. I built a leadership team, got new people in, tried to improve productivity and efficiency in the facility. And within a year, I was able to turn around and post fantastic results. Okay. And then, of course, this is a Pennsylvania Transformer legacy company, has been in business close to 100 years now.
Oh, wow.
Through multiple leaderships and multiple ownerships, and so it was a great company to work for, and results were very positive. So it was a family-owned company, and at one point there was no succession plan. So I decided to take the company with the approval of the shareholders to the market. I led the due diligence efforts, and I was able to sell the company to Quanta Services on October 31st, 2023. Which was a milestone, in my career and, of course, for the company and for our customers. Because a lot of customers, we are considered like a gold standard in the industry. A lot of our customers were uncertain where we would go, and Transformers is a capital-intensive business. So it was, and not too many players in the market. So they were very happy about this whole thing. And for Quanta, they were looking at, this is their first investment into manufacturing. They're primarily an infrastructure service company.
Right.
And for us, we were a great synergic fit to the company. They looked at PDT and saw PDT had great people who made great products. There was a big supply chain disconnect in the industry. They were not able to service customers. And transformers and breakers was critical in the supply chain. So we have tremendous amount of manufacturing space in the facility, especially in Canonsburg. Looked at that and said, look, this is a company to invest in. So it was.
So the best time to get into the transformer business probably ever in the world, if you didn't in the 70s, 1970s,
Right.
or early 60s and 70s, was about 2019, when all of a sudden the demand curve has gone through the roof.
Right.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because we'll talk about the problems that demand curves create. But why did the demand increase so dramatically, so quickly? I don't think anybody really, I mean, it's everybody's sold out in this industry, globally.
Globally, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's not just, but the US, of course, has primarily aging infrastructure and, the legislation kind of, so first of all, pandemic created these issues. So the market was by and large dependent on international supply chain. Then we had logistics issues, getting products on time. So the customer perspective changed.
Right.
So traditionally, post GE times, where a lot of manufacturing went to China, most of the domestic manufacturers scaled down production, and they remained kind of below the radar where competition was domestic. Post pandemic, customers realized that they're so dependent on the foreign imports that they cannot get projects done on time. So they started nearshoring or reshoring these awards and started looking at domestic manufacturers. So for us, it was a surprise that we had not planned for this growth. And all of a sudden, customer preferences changed. A lot of, China changed its policy for data centers. A lot of data centers moved to the US, which needed a large amount of power. The renewable strategy with current government, previous government was still very strong. And with this net zero initiative, a lot of legislation and investments went into renewables. So all of these sectors, plus EV and battery storage, all of this infrastructure is being built, and which creates this huge demand.
You kind of wonder why we were caught so flat-footed. Right. Now, I know COVID, right. I know the supply chain issues were unique, but the demand curve, I mean, we should have seen it coming at some point, because it's not just demand here, it's demand everywhere.
The scale is different, but yes, the US, of course, hasn't invested in infrastructure for so long.
Yeah.
Like, we have, Pennsylvania Transformers was formerly called Magro Edison, and Magro supplied transformers to New York City in the early 70s, which are still running. So see, equipment which was designed for 30, 40 years of life is being used for 60, 70 years. And, it poses a risk to the grid.
Yeah.
So, that investment which hadn't happened before started happening now.
In 1968, I went to Georgia Tech, and I used a slide rule. We overbuilt everything, right? Because now we use computers and we only build to specification, and that's another thing. So the next generation of transformers, even though they're good, the next generation of transformers will likely not last 60 and 70 years. So this is not just a short term. It's going to take decades in order to fulfill the needs that we have. Talk about supply chain issues, how you've helped overcome them, and labor issues, labor shortages.
So I'll start with the labor first. So labor, we have 3 generations of workforce in our facilities. And as the matured workforce is retiring, this has been a big challenge, not just with us, but across the industry.
Right.
To get the younger workforce to work in manufacturing or to attract them to manufacturing is not easy. There have been, disparity in the wage scale. We have unionized labor. So we have tried to circumvent that by creating a growth plan for the employees. We have invested in training and development, which I think is very key, which we hadn't for many years. So we have set up a training school. Besides, of course, the support from Quanta now, which really is big in safety and training. So we are trying to scale it down to at our level where we can produce winders and electricians and assemblers within our facilities. We are trying to hire, the outreach extends to high school, to polytechnics, to trade schools, get people there, give them the skills they need to work in the transformer industry. Because both our 2 facilities for small and medium and large, we are expanding them. So we need a lot of labor. So this is kind of the key strategy that we are following to retain and train the labor force.
It's almost a German philosophy, where the Germans, the Europeans, trained their own labor force. They did the apprenticeship programs, the training programs. We didn't do that in the United States, right?
So we are actually getting into that.
Right.
So we have actually engaged a German firm called Stauffen to help us with all these initiatives, employee communication, Goals are set from it's the same common goals flows down to the junior-most employee. Every day there are communication meetings, we map where people are progressing, etc. So they're trying to get us to develop a roadmap for Industry 4.0 in years to come, which includes the labor is a big part of this thing. Supply chain, unfortunately, supply chain in the US has not kept up in pace with the demand. So we have to go global. There is no option. Right. So especially in our industry, copper consumption that's the maximum spend. And one of our main suppliers, Ray Magnet, decided not to produce CDC conductors in the US anymore, which was a very difficult decision for us because they were our main suppliers. They continue to be our main suppliers. So we had to go international and source copper. And what has happened in the industry because of this disparity in supply chain and engineering, which is all our products are made to order. So engineering has constantly had to change schedules to keep up with the long critical lead times. Yeah. And the war with Ukraine hasn't helped. A lot of these factories were in either Russia or Ukraine. So we have been trying to source this internationally to manage our deliveries. There's still a lot of disconnect, but we've not landed into a situation where we are totally at loss for production. And we are vertically integrated than most of our competitors. We do a lot of stuff in-house. We do our tanks in-house. We do our installation in-house. So we can either work with raw materials or we can work with components so that helps us mitigate the issue.
I was talking with Joe Donovan at TMAA, and he said to make sure to ask you about a major project that you've got, which you kind of alluded to, expansion. You brought it over top. You're profitable. You've kind of caught everything up. You're starting to build. Tell me about the future.
So future, we are expanding both of our existing facilities. Our Rayford facility makes small and medium power transformers. We are trying to increase the capacity by 50% there, by improving infrastructure, setting up a new building, adding new equipment in place. Our Canonsburg facility produces medium and large power transformers. So we are expanding that by 100% of capacity. Large power transformers, almost 80% of transformers imported into this country. So we are trying to create space and help water companies to actually complete their projects on time. So we have ordered a lot of different critical equipment to support that. On top of that, we are starting 2 new product lines. Circuit breakers, which is, again, pretty much in short supply. So we had this product line before. We stopped manufacturing in 2014. Hopefully by the end of this year, we will start up that product line in Canonsburg. And then we are starting a greenfield project to manufacture pad mount transformers and substation transformers, which is going to cater to just these high growth markets, renewable data centers.
So you're from here to here, a very integrated product line. That's
yes. So we want to be like the power products division of Quanta. And mainly, our captive consumption is so high for all of these products. We may have very limited capacity to sell to the outside, but initially our focus will be to strengthen our supply chain within the group.
So you're telling me that if I hear this and I want to buy from you, that you have limited capacity to sell out of the
we will diversify, but we will support Quanta projects. And obviously we would not want these companies to risk buying everything from us. So it will be a good distribution, but a lot of it will be for captive consumption.
Tell me about what IEEE means to you. You've been a member a long time, right? So I imagine 32 years ago when you got into this, you joined IEEE?
Right from school.
Did you really? Yeah, okay.
No, it's a fantastic forum, which brings together all of our stakeholders in the same platform. Customers, suppliers, stakeholders, partners, alliance, you network, great place to network. And this particular forum, of course, we want to first of all highlight the fact that we are still a very strong transformer manufacturer. We want to showcase the new products that we are coming up with, make an introduction of those products. And of course, main focus is to meet with suppliers to boost up our supply chain. So that's kind of the main focus.
Are many of them here, you think? Many
of the suppliers are here. And then, of course, I'm in Berlin next week.
Kwame?
Yes, Kwame, yeah.
Will you be at Kwame?
Yes.
I was supposed to go to Kwame, and I'm not, but we're going to be interviewing Chris Lee from Kwame later.
Right.
I think tomorrow.
That's a good forum for buying. If you're buying
Right,
machinery
yeah,
for factory,
yeah.
and that's what we are looking at right now. Most of our suppliers are from Europe for the new projects that we're talking about.
Excellent. Sandeep, thank you so much.
Alan,
It's been a
pleasure
delight.
again.
Good
Thank
to see you.
Pleasure meeting you.
Okay.